I want to talk about Jesuits at the frontiers. We often hear about what Jesuits and their mission partners are doing in places like, Myanmar or various places around the world, Syria, for example, Lebanon. And I think it's really inspiring. But there's a very, very foundational frontier that I want to focus on today. And I want to explain that to you now. Jesus said, "I've come that you may have life and have it to the full." And I want to explore that a bit. How does that work? How does that happen? I'm doing this by way of the Beatitudes. And I'm going to say that today there are competing Beatitudes. There's the Beatitudes that are prevalent in so much of our culture. Blessed are the rich. Blessed are the powerful. Blessed are those who stand up and show they won't be downtrodden. Blessed are those who take revenge. Kind of a funny meaning of blessed. And at times we know it doesn't work. But we kind of get infected by that. And you see it in the wars that are happening today and the economic oppression of so many poor people and the lack of compassion for migrants and refugees, the lack of forgiveness for people who've been in prison, who've committed crimes. You don't get a second chance, that kind of thing. It's terrible, but it's there. And it kind of can leach into our souls and deprive us of energy and joy and love. And then there's obviously the Beatitudes of Jesus. Blessed are the poor. Blessed are the merciful. Blessed are those who forgive. Blessed are those who seek for justice with all their heart and with all their passion. Blessed are those who are prepared to sacrifice in order to live lives of love. And that's Jesus' way. Those of you familiar with the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius will recognize the two standards here. But this is the fight we're in today. And it's obvious more than ever that this is the frontier. This is where the battle is. I mean, it's just incredibly important that we know that this is going on. We know also that through advertising, through the news, through examples that are put before us, we can be a little bit infected by the first set of so-called Beatitudes. And that's why we need the Christian community. That's why it makes sense to belong to the church, or it's one of the reasons. We need people like us who want to live this life like Jesus, who want to be merciful, kind, forgiving, so that when we get tempted by all those other so-called Beatitudes, we can stand firm, we can support each other, we can help each other out. I don't know where you are as you watch this video, where are you in your life, what age you are. Maybe you're a young student, maybe you're a retired person, maybe you're watching this in Africa or Asia or Europe or the States. I don't know any of that, but I just know this is fundamental for the human condition today. If we want to be a human race in solidarity with the weakest people, a human race that has respect for the planet, that watches people flourish, that wants people to flourish, we need to be aware that this is the call, that this is the frontier we're on almost every day, that we're called. Most of us really want to be over here with Jesus, with the Christian community. Or if you're not a Christian, we want to be over here with people who desire to be authentically human. We do. But to recognize, there are forces pushing us in the other direction that appeal to our worst instincts. So this is going on, this kind of fight, this conflict, this polarity. And what I say to you today is, listen to your deepest self, because it'll call you over here. Listen to friends you trust and to people you admire. They'll call you over there. And take time to grow, to change. Methods can be the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius if you're a Christian. But in so many of our faith traditions, there's an emphasis on being this kind of person over here. And that's the way you'll have life to the full. That's the way you'll fulfill your own humanity and the promise that you have inside yourself. And I want to make one final point, which is religious life today It's so much needed to be people who can witness to this way of Jesus, who can give everything to love others and serve others. This witness is needed more than ever. People sometimes doubt about the identity or the validity of religious life today. Have no doubt. It is so important. It is such a big gift to the church and the world.